The 7 Names of the Sky. In the high, lonely valleys where the wind wore the stones smooth and the grass grew tough as old rope, there lived a shepherd named Elian. His world was one of simple rhythms, the bleating of his flock, the crunch of his boots on frost, the slow arc of the sun. His only map was the sky, a vast, changing companion he thought he knew. He knew the bruised purple of a coming storm, the innocent blue of a safe day, the rosy blush of a shepherd's dawn. But he did not know its names. The first name came to him on a day when the air was still and heavy. A ewe, his favorite, with a clever face and a patch of wool like a cloud on her brow, had wandered into a crack in the cliff face. Elian heard her panicked cries echoing from deep within the stone. He scrabbled at the rock until his fingers bled, but the way was sealed. Despairing, he slumped against the cliff, gazing up at the oppressive, featureless gray ceiling above. "Ah," he sighed, his voice swallowed by the silence. "If only this stubborn sky would weep, perhaps the stone would soften." Without thinking, the words left his lips in a sigh that was almost a song. Elia. It was not a word he knew, but it felt ancient and true on his tongue. The moment he spoke it, the gray sky shivered. Then it began to weep. Not a storm, but a gentle, focused rain that fell only on that cliff face, seeping into the granite fissures. With a soft groan, the stones softened, the crack widened just enough, and the ewe scrambled out, shaking droplets from her wool. Elian stared at his hands, then at the sky. The rain ceased. The name, Elia, the weeping sky, now lived in his bones. The second name revealed itself in the deep of winter. A blizzard, sharper than wolves' teeth, swept down from the peaks. It drove the flock into a terrified huddle, and the cold began to steal their lives, one slow breath at a time. Huddled with them, Elian felt the numbness creeping into his own heart. He looked up at the sky, a swirling chaos of white and gray, and a desperate, defiant heat rose in his chest. "You are not just a killer, you are a blanket too. Show me." Kylum, the sheltering sky. The howling wind didn't stop, but it changed. The snowflakes, mid-fall, began to glow with a faint golden light. Where they landed, they did not bring cold, but a gentle, radiant warmth. A dome of still, warm air formed over Elian and his flock, while the blizzard raged harmlessly around its edges. The lambs stopped shivering. The warm snow melted on his skin like a blessing. Now he understood. The sky had a language, and each name was a key. He discovered Solon, the listening sky, on a silent night when loneliness was a physical ache. Speaking the name, the stars seemed to lean closer, and the void between them hummed with a symphony of distant, gentle voices. Not words, but feelings of peace from other lonely watchers across the world. His solitude became communion. Vespera, the remembering sky, unveiled herself at sunset. When he uttered it, the dying light painted not just colors, but scenes on the clouds. His father's smile, his mother singing, a lost dog from his childhood returning home. It was a tender, bittersweet magic that healed old, faint sorrows. The fifth name came in a moment of frustration, as thistles choked a spring. "Terax!" he cried, meaning to curse the stubborn ground. But Terax was the name of the mirror sky. The clear blue above became a perfect reflection of the valley. As he pulled a thistle below, its mirrored image in the sky vanished, and the real plant in his hand crumbled to dust. He learned to heal the land by touching its reflection in the heavens. With 5 names, his life transformed, his flock thrived, the valleys bloomed, and he felt woven into the fabric of the world. But the 6th name brought fear. It was the shadow of a hawk that triggered it. The dark shape raced across the grass, and Elian, instinctively wanting to see its source, looked up and spoke Nyx. Nyx was the veiled sky. The day vanished, not into night, but into an absolute primordial blackness. No stars, no moon, no diffused light, a black so complete it was like being blind. And in that blackness, things stirred. He heard whispers that were not sound, felt presences that were not shape. This was not a sky to command, but one to survive. Trembling, he held on to the warmth of his ewe nearby and whispered the names he knew, Alia for comfort, Kylam for shelter. After an eternity of heartbeats, the veil lifted. He knew Nyx was a warning. Some magics are not tools, but thresholds. The 7th name he did not seek. It sought him. A man from the lowlands, a fur trapper with hungry eyes, had seen the wonder of Elian's valley, the ever-blooming flowers, the uncanny health of the sheep. He saw not magic, but commodity. He returned with others, with axes and carts, and greed. They began to cut the ancient talking trees. They dammed the singing stream. Elian stood before them, pleading. They laughed. The sky belongs to everyone, shepherd. His heart broke for his valley. He knew names to bring rain or warmth, to listen or remember, to mend or even to bring darkness, but none to protect. In his anguish, he turned his face to the vast, indifferent blue and screamed his frustration, his love, his despair. The sound that tore from him was not a word, but a feeling given voice. It was the cry of the hawk and the bleat of the lamb, the sigh of the grass and the groan of the stone. It was the story of the valley itself. And the sky answered. It did not change color. It did not storm or shine. It simply opened. Above him, the blue deepened into infinity. The trappers dropped their axes, gazing up in terror and awe. They did not see magic. They saw scale. They saw the breathtaking, terrifying truth of their own smallness within the endless vault of heaven. They felt the weight of ages, the silent judgment of the cosmos, the sheer, fragile miracle of the ground beneath their feet. Their greed shriveled to nothing under that gaze. They fled and did not return. Exhausted, Elian fell to his knees. The name, the true name, echoed silently in his soul. It was unpronounceable, a symphony of all that was. He understood now. The first 6 names were facets, tears, shelter, memory, reflection, even darkness. But the 7th was not a tool. It was the truth. It was the sky simply being itself utterly and completely, and in doing so, revealing the truth of everything beneath it. Elian grew old in his valley. He never used the 7th name again, for it was not his to use. But he taught his children and his children's children the first 6. He taught them to call for the gentle rain, to summon the warm snow, to listen to the star song, to see memories in the sunset, to mend the earth by honoring its reflection in the heavens. And on still, clear days, he would look up, not with the eyes of a magician, but with the quiet heart of a shepherd who knew the greatest magic was not in unlocking the sky, but in understanding that he was, and had always been, a part of its eternal, nameless story.